Christina Lynn.
And I'm Ahau Jack Perez.
And this is Sipping from the Cup of Wisdom with the Carpenter son.
We invite you to grab a cup of coffee and sit with us while we tackle Bible questions.
So, Dad, the other day, a friend asked a really cool question. If we are saved, now do we experience the temptation when we return with Christ in the second coming? And, or is it the tribulation saints who experience the trouble of temptation? And is there a reason for why after dying for salvation, these tribulation saints experience temptation, or do they? And this is all during the 1,000-year reign and the final locking of Satan in hell. It's a good question.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
A lot of people don't even know about the 1,000-year millennial period. It's something that you actually should take time to study. When I was young, I used to think that when Christ came back, what they are known as the rapture or the catching up, that was the end. I thought that for a long time, and I found out that that's actually the beginning of the end.
I know, and then we come back, and it's like, wait, what? We come back?
Yeah, so I'm thinking the second coming was a tribulation, but no, it's a separate event altogether. So there's a tribulation, and it's spelled out just as plain and as clear as you want to be. Then there's what they call a tribulation period. And then there's what they call after that a 1,000-year reign, where Jesus will rule. That's all of the rest of the prophecy that he's going to fulfill, that he will be the king. The first time he came as a servant, and he didn't really go after people or try to get his kingdom. But the second time is going to be a different story. He is going to be the king, and he's going to rule with an iron fist.
Right, and when we're talking tribulation, rapture, and the second coming, know that Revelation speaks about when they are speaking about peace and safety, and sudden destruction will come, and then it also says that we will be harpazoed or caught up, which is how we get the word rapture. So as soon as we are lifted up, then the sudden destruction comes down on all those who remain. Jesus doesn't actually set foot on earth during that moment. It's the second coming.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify for our viewers, the second coming that we're talking about. So this is when we, the saints who have been caught up with Christ during the rapture, pre-trib, yes, pre-trib. The Bible's very clear about that. And if you think otherwise, you might want to do some research. When Jesus comes back to fulfill the wrath and to take care of business, we, the church, we, his bride, will be behind him on his white horse.
Yes. And then to further clarify it, the tribulation saints are the ones that have made it through the tribulation, which is going to be a 7-year period.
So they were the ones that were left behind.
They were the ones that were left behind after the rapture. But it's going to be hard times. It's going to be, you won't be able to buy or sell just like you are right now. Times are going to be rough, so it's going to be a rough time. But in answering that person's question, will the tribulation saints, the ones that made it through, will they be tempted? No, they won't be tempted, because at that time they're through the hard part. Now they're with Christ, and they'll be with the saints that have already got raptured, helping him to rule. There'll be different assignments that we'll have that Jesus will give us, and we're going to help him rule with an iron fist, so to speak. And everybody will be made to rule. There will be people that are actually come through the tribulation and be what they call tribulation saints. But that's a whole story within itself. But it's interesting if you read it. And 1 Corinthians 15 and 42, I believe, is a place that you can start and just kind of take off from there. And the other part of it is, I like to think about Philippians 4:8, thinking about whatsoever things are true. They wanted to know how do you get through the time where it's getting rougher, as we see there's a lot of things going on, the different countries, the different things that are happening. Why is Jesus being mocked? One reason that he's being mocked is because he's the Messiah, the Son of God. He's the most mocked. His name is the most used as a curse word. They like to use his name as a curse word. Reason for that is because he's God's son. Yeah. He's the Messiah.
The more they mock, and the more they they see at his name, the more it proves his realness and his power and his might. They say, at his name, every knee shall bow.
And that's why his name is so used, and that's why all of the different theaters like to mock him and do different things as we see going on. But in order to get through that, think of Philippians 4:8, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure. And it just goes on to say, think on these things, whatsoever is lovely. And what comes to my mind is Jesus Christ is pure, he's honest, he's commendable, on and on. So think about that. And it's just, you just have to trust him towards the end as things get worse and as things fall apart, the more they come together, because a lot of this was written. So just think on him and trust him. Who knows what's going to happen? Is he going to take pain away? We don't know what it is, but we just got to trust him that he will take care of us. He'll lead us and guide us of what to do.
That's true. And keying in on that Philippians 4:8 verse, the opposite I have found to be true is if I start worrying about something, then I tend to go down this rabbit hole, this drain. He's like, you let one thought in, like, what if this happens? You're like, oh my gosh, what if that happens? Then this would happen. And it just starts to stop.
I had an operation and I was worried about it, and I was praying and asking God to help me. And it was so funny. I remember the lady said, you're going to feel something cold. The next thing I remember is when I was out of the surgery and everything was over, I had no idea. So that's kind of the way God is going to take care of us. We just got to trust him. We don't know for sure. We try to imagine something and it ends up being a lot worse, but just trust him. If you're going to go through something, trust him.
And that's true of life. I mean, look at all the things from your past that you thought you would never make it through. And here you are on the other side, you can't even remember what you were really worried about.
That's right.
And at the moment, in the moment, it was completely unbearable. But yes, we will not face temptation. The saints that are caught up beforehand will have glorified bodies, so we'll be impervious to sin. We will no longer sin, which is amazing, because I was always afraid that at some point I get screwed up in that 1,000-year reign and I'd be sunk. And and then Jesus does make the world perfect, because a lot of people believe that if things were completely perfect, then they could serve him, and he gives them that opportunity. No more pain, no more suffering.
But what's funny is he's still going to give you a choice. Even after all of that, if you don't want him, you don't have to choose him. So he's going to give you the choice. He's not just going to make you serve him type of a God. You'll serve him because you love him, and he actually chooses us. We're his friend. And that's something within itself, that we're a friend of Jesus.
We love him because he first loved us.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Sipping from the Cup of Wisdom with the Carpenter's Son is a production of That Titus 2 Life. Got a Bible question? Comment below. Follow us here.